Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Gale here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Season 5 video. And today we are going to be going through some missed and extra details that is, of course, given to us by, of course, the Danmachi anime Twitter account as well as Amori Sensei regarding episode 3. Now, of course, it's been a few days since episode 3 has dropped, and of course, we've been getting a bunch of tweets from Amori Sensei and the Danmachi anime Twitter as we normally do. I swear that man never stops tweeting out. Well, at least Amori doesn't stop tweeting out. I get the anime Twitter account posting regularly because, you know, promotion, marketing, all that sort of stuff. But man, Amori needs to chill out on tweeting. Bro, I had to mute his notifications. I initially had his notifications on in case he'd revealed anything or something, right? But my god, this man does not stop tweeting, bro. It is so frustrating to have his notifications on because otherwise my phone is just getting pings, burr, vibration happening. And I'm like, God, just chill for 1 second, you know, just chill for 1 second. You don't need to tweet out every 2 seconds, my guy. No, but it's cool to see an author being so active on Twitter or any form of social media. It's pretty cool to see. Allows people to see his thoughts, you know, allows people to see what he's doing, you know, in terms of what stories is he reading, you know, whose works is he reading, is he doing anything brand new for the series and stuff like that. I think it's pretty cool, you know. I think it's very cool in that sense. But anyways, of course, episode 3 has come and gone. We've done a reaction to it, we've done a live discussion to it. I'm gonna be going over today the details that they've added over on Twitter, of course, the tips and tricks that they've been basically doing on the Danmachi anime Twitter. We're gonna see also if Amori has any other thoughts to add on his own Twitter account as well. And then, of course, if you guys are wondering where the cut contents video is, that'll be coming out tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. There will be a video talking about everything that was cut from episode 3 of Danmachi season 5. Now, of course, if you guys go on to enjoy today's video as well, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of good stuff. And let's get into this, of course. And one more thing, actually, leave a comment down below if you guys have any other additional thoughts regarding episode 3. Maybe you've rewatched it, you want to add some thoughts onto it. And also, actually, one more thing as well, if you watched the dub episode of Danmachi season 5, because I think the dub has officially premiered now. If you have watched the English dub for Danmachi season 5, what do you guys think? I'm curious to see if it's actually gotten better. Is it the same? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. Now, of course, for me personally, you know, a couple of days after episode 3 has aired, we did a live discussion and everything, right? And I would highly recommend you guys come over to the live discussions. We do them every Saturday evening, basically give people 2 days to, of course, watch the entirety of the episode and stuff, right? But one of the things that I would say in regards to episode 3 that I really liked and disliked, you know, both at the same time, you could say, is generally I like the animation and I also dislike the animation. I think you could tell that sometimes they cut corners, like for example the physics of the water and stuff like that. That was definitely cut. You know, somebody mentioned in my live stream about the environments and the other people. Now the other people, the surrounding people, I didn't really care too much about, but I could tell some of the environments could be hit or miss depending on the sequence. For the most part, I felt it was all right, especially when they got into the church, and also I think the hero's bridge and everything, they were pretty good. It's just everything else was a little bit of a miss in that episode. But on the other side, I still maintain, you know, facial expressions, the key body expressions and everything of the main protagonists and everything, and also the characters that they were focusing on were really well done. So it's kind of like they're cutting corners in some ways to obviously enhance the other parts of the animation, right? And there is that discrepancy, which could be a little bit jarring for some people, of course, right? But along with that, I generally think that the episode was a little bit rushed in some ways, of course, right? You could tell that they were trying to pace through that section of the you know, light novel fairly quickly. To be honest, I still think they did a good job overall with it, but I do think that they definitely rushed through a little bit of it. Again, we'll talk about that more in our cut contents video. Just want to give you guys a little bit of an update on what I think about the episode coming into, you know, effectively a week after, effectively, right? Because it's almost a week since the episode aired now. But yeah, I think it's good. You could just tell that there were a little bit of cut corners here and there, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Now, let's take a look at the tips from the Danmachi anime, of course, the Danmachi anime Twitter account. So the first tip is regarding the blue-haired little guy from the Freya Familia. His name is Van. He is half dwarf and half human, and is tall enough to be envied by dwarves, but short enough to be ridiculed by other races. In a life where he has struggled with his incomplete self, he pledges his loyalty to Freya, who created a place for him and helped him dispel his feelings of inferiority and frustration. Actually, one second. I just want to double check something in regards to Van. Now, Van is somebody who we're not gonna really look into too much. I think long term, at least long term, I don't think it's gonna be something we look into too much. But yeah, I was about to say, I think there's something wrong with the but I was like, I know something about him that it's wrong here, and I think there's a little bit of a discrepancy here. I think maybe it's just a translation issue, maybe, or something, because I don't think it's supposed to be dwarfs. It's supposed to be Palams. It's supposed to be the same race as Lily and Finn. Dwarves are completely different. Dwarves are your Garretts and stuff like that. This guy is not like Garrett at all. So he is supposed to be half Palam, and that's what it is. So I guess there is a little bit of a discrepancy there and a little bit of an error there, either translation or, you know, again, miswritten by the Danmachi anime Twitter account. Can happen. I'm not going to really, you know, go in on them for that. They got the half human, half Palam part, or at least half race part, right? A demi race part, right? So that's completely fine. But I think Van is one of those characters where you'll see him regularly, and he'll have his role to play again later on down the line as well. But he's definitely not somebody who I don't think a lot of y'all will care about too much, I think, in the long term for sure. He's mainly there for the additional sort of like what he does, I think, in my opinion, the best way to put best way to look at Van is he is like the embodiment of effectively the rest of the Freya Familia in some way, shape, or form. Effectively, the way he behaves, the way he'll act towards Belle and everything will effectively represent the rest of the Freya Familia. That's how I perceive Van as, kind of, you know, because you can't do every single individual Freya Familia member because there's quite a few of them, right? Obviously you'll focus on the main characters' emotions like Otarl, Hayden, Hegni, and, you know, the circle, as you guys saw, right? And one or two more potentially. But beyond that, you're not going to look at every single Freya Familia character. And so Van kind of represents that, you know, because this is exactly what, you know, the tweet is saying, you know, because Van struggled with that identity, struggled with, you know, the hatred or, you know, the lack of emotions he was getting, and you know, from both sides of his family effectively, or both sides of his race, the human side and the Palam side, right? So, you know, being given that opportunity by Freya to, you know, be taken away from that environment and to allow him to, you know, grow and, you know, give him a place to live effectively and, you know, become stronger and stronger and stronger and showcase his true skills and abilities. It's something that you could say is represented also with other Freya Familia members as well. That position, that feeling of home that Freya provides, of course, right? As much as we know that Freya can be quite unfeeling towards her own familiar members in her endeavors to get Belle, for example, right? You could say that at the same time, you know, her giving this place to these individuals and these people is significant in itself as well, right? Again, this is where I would also suggest people go and read Freya Chronicles before the next couple of episodes air, because it gives you a much better idea of everything that's going on with the Freya Familia in a far better detail than the anime has so far, of course, right? So I'd highly recommend it. Again, it's one of those things, I know people will be annoyed that I'm saying, oh, go read a light novel or go watch Danmimo you know, videos, but that's what they've made us do effectively, you know, because they're not able to adapt everything. They're not willing to adapt everything, all the spin-offs and side stories and stuff. So it can be, it is something that you have to kind of, I have to recommend you guys go and do something else to be able to do, you know, to be able to understand everything, right? So that's my 2 cents on that. Now, the store that Belle and the others went on to pick up their packages, actually the did I say Widden? The hidden warehouse of the magician Lenore, who appeared in episode 9 of season 3. And there the magical tool Reverse Veil made by Fels, which played an important role in Operation Return from the Heretics Labyrinth, makes a reappearance. Belle also used the deodorant to escape from the escort forces encirclement. So yeah, this was something that we'd seen in season 3 already. And again, it's a good callback if you noticed it. Obviously, maybe most people didn't notice it because we didn't actually see the inside of the store, of course, in this episode. But obviously, if you did realize that they must have gone to the same warehouse or the same place, right, to get the magical tools and stuff, yeah, there you guys go. That is effectively how they were able to do it. Obviously, in the light novel, I think this is, again, I guess you could say that this is a form of cut content. I think they do mention, or at least Bell mentions that he got it from that store and stuff. I don't think I don't remember actually. Did we actually see the store? I don't think we actually saw the store. As far as I can recall, we don't go inside to the store. We just see them running out. But of course we see Bell mentioning later on that he got it from that store and stuff like that. I think that's what happened. I could be wrong again though. But yeah, it's another form of cut content in that we didn't actually get to see the mention of said store, or what it was basically. So that is another tip. I think that's pretty cool that they're at least mentioning it and kind of saying that this is something that happened in a previous season and we showed it off in a previous season, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool. Now we go on to the third tip, of course, for episode 3. The Cathedral of St. Fuland stands in the northwestern section, which is full of ancient buildings. The old church, which was once home to the home of Bell, is also located nearby. So where Hestia and Bell used to live was actually pretty close to the Cathedral of St. Fuland. The game that's going to be coming up, Danmachi Fuland of Water and Light, is based on a story originally conceived by Mori Sensei and is following one of the Labyrinth sacred tales that inspired the series. Is now available for pre-order. Of course, they're talking about the game being available for pre-order. But yeah, this is where we were like, okay, when they announced the game Fuland of Water and Light, we all immediately, I remember, within a couple of minutes, or like I think it was like 15-20 minutes, we all were like, wait a second. There was a story about Fuland of Water and Light from volume 16, which is of course what we're seeing being adapted right now. And I remember everybody was like, oh well, we kind of already know the story, so is it going to take place in the past or in the present? And I remember back then when the game was first announced, we were all like, maybe it might be setting in the past, which I personally didn't like, because I think if you're making a Danmachi game right now, because it's the first console game, you have to still focus in on Bella and stuff. People forget how important like the main characters are and stuff. You see the reason why Danchro doesn't release like a brand new Bet or Finn or anything of that sort, like side characters, is because people won't really summon for them, and you don't want to lose money selling characters that nobody's interested in, and rather people will buy characters or go for characters that people will be interested in, like your bells and stuff like that, right? It's the same thing that happened in Dokkan and other gacha games for a very long time, until they were in a position where they could start releasing whatever characters they wanted. You look back at the start of FGO, you had big name characters like the likes of course, you had Gilgamesh, Ishtar, Rin Faces, basically Saber, Artorial Lancer, so on and so forth. Some big name characters that people knew about, of course, right? Whereas now, they're doing brand new characters or brand new servants, basically. And it's the same thing with with Danmachi Fuland of Water and Light. You can't go and set a game in the past without Bell, Eyes, and so on and so forth, because you're not gonna get the general audience to be interested in the game. That you'll get the core fan base to be interested in it. But yeah, anyways, coming back to Danmachi season 5, of course, got distracted there a little bit, went on to a different tangent entirely there. But I think that it is quite nice that we're obviously getting the timing of this fantastic. I would have loved to seen the one thing I will say, and this is something I mentioned in my reaction, right, is I would have loved to seen the designs in this episode for the very first time, and then the game announce it at the same time. Like once the episode airs, the game also starts promoting the designs for Fuland, Belinda, and of course Undine as well. I think that would have been such a good way to do it, in my opinion, because you would have had the first time reveal shock of like how they look like in obviously the series. Yes, I don't think a lot of people would have cared too much about it, but I guess people would have been like, wait, that guy looks like Bell. I still remember when Fuland's design was revealed, everybody was like, this guy looks like Bell. It would have been funny in that sense again, because it would have been like, is this yet another reincarnation of Bell, or sort of like an incarnation of Bell, you could say, because we already had Argonaut, then Fuland, you could have argued, and then this. But of course, we've seen Fuland's design. It's not really the same as Bell. It's close, but not exactly like Bell. So yeah, anyways, I think overall, this scene was done extremely well. I feel like, to be quite honest, I really liked it. And again, I'm glad that they showed off the designs even in the anime as well. Obviously, now that they've already got the designs out there, it makes sense that they use the designs in the anime as well. Works extremely well. Again, this is where franchises work extremely, or franchises and the media within it work extremely well together. So that's really, really good, of course, right? We move on to tip number 4, of course, from the Danmachi anime, the inside story of Detective Hestia. After losing sight of Bell, she quickly decided that searching the vast city was a bad idea. So reading Bell's thoughts, she dashed back to his base and rummaged through his room without permission, where she found a flyer for a restaurant with a red circle around it. By the way, the meal expenses here are paid for by my assistant, Miss Valentine. I mean, that works. I suppose that works. She is the first class adventurer. She is the rich one. No, but it makes that is so funny that she actually just went straight in and was like, I'm gonna find the flyer. And I assume the red circle for the restaurant was for, of course, when he was able to finally, build up the courage to actually ask Eyes out. So that's quite interesting that, it panned out in this way, to be honest. It's quite funny in that sense. All right. But we move on to the final tip for the day. It seems like this will be the next stop on our tour of Aurorio's sites is the Heroes Bridge, which is with its spectacular statues of 31 heroes. In ancient times, heroes risked their lives to fight for humanity and close the great hole in the city, so the dungeon, of course. In addition to the great hero Albert and the knight Fuland, there were also the descendants of the Wolf Emperor Sauron. Lord of the Rings much? Nah, Sauron, I think it is actually more so. The Amazon Empress Ivelda and the dwarf goddess Fianna. Now, of course, Fianna is somebody we've known for a long time since Danmachi Memoria Freese obviously had it at its 5th anniversary. Highly recommend people go check out that story. It's very, very good. But we, of course, had Fianna. We, of course, had a bunch of heroes here. You can see some you can tell, some you wouldn't be able to tell, of course, right? I don't think Argonaut was in this list of heroes. You can't really tell. To be honest, some people thought there was Argonaut, but it's not there. I don't think Argonaut is there, unfortunately. But you did have some, heroes here, like, of course, they mentioned Sauron and Ivelda. Now, of course, if you guys weren't aware, and I think Omori mentions it in his on his Twitter down here, I think, is that the Heroes Bridge is actually based on the Charles Bridge in Czech Republic. Like Saint Vitus the Cathedral, it is a wonderful place. If you have a chance, please visit Prague. So obviously, he was pretty cool, and it's pretty cool in that sense that. He's got some more information as to how he based it off. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people may forget that since Danmachi already takes so much history from like actual like mythology and stuff, right? And gods and goddesses and stuff like that, and also just weaponry and stuff like that. Omori is also going to take locations as also and settings as an example as well to effectively put into his series. So like Charles Bridge for the Heroes Bridge makes sense in that regards, right? Now I will say this, I did wish, again, this is where I will maintain that I really think we could have gotten the volume 15 sequence with Albert in this episode, but it's really cool that we still got to see all these different gods and goddesses. I was quite pleasantly surprised to see Fianna in there, I'm not gonna lie. I had not been spoiled, so when I watched the episode, seeing Fianna was like, holy shit, I know her. I know her because I played the game, and I think that's pretty cool. I think the thing is, right, I know a lot of people may not like the idea of Omori putting a lot of these things in side stories and stuff like that, and I know from a casual fan's perspective that can be quite frustrating. I will say this, I think it can be quite frustrating from a casual fan's perspective, but from a person like is so invested in Danmachi, I also feel really happy when I'm able to notice things that I spent, obviously my time and effort on reading, and also, devoting my hours into, years and years ago, obviously at this point. I say years and years ago, this is like 2 years ago, Danmachi Memoria Freese's 5th anniversary. But 2 years ago, I devoted my time in reading the 5th anniversary story and reading this canonical story. Again, effectively, this makes Knights of Fianna canon again as well. So it is kind of like one of those things where I'm like, damn, I wish I wish other people also had the opportunity to read Knights of Fianna, Argonaut, all these amazing canonical stories, Astrea Record as well. Of course, Astrea Record and Argonaut are light novels now. Knights of Fianna will probably end up becoming a light novel as well down the line. I don't see that being an impossibility. But of course, people want to watch this stuff as well, watch this shit. And I really hope they do really consider making anime adaptations for all of this, man. And of course, Sword Art Online as well, but I would love to see Argonaut. I'd love to see Stray Record, Knights of Fianna, all of these becoming anime adaptations as well, because these stories were amazing to read in Danmimo, and they shouldn't be pushed to the, just a written section or from a game that's unfortunately ended its service. Of course, it's available to play in a Memorial app, but like, come on. It's only available in Japanese, and not everybody's gonna be able to read it. So yeah, that's what my own 2 cents on that front, of course, right? I will say this though, of course, right? I will say one more thing regarding the episode as well, and I think Omori mentions it. I don't think he does. Actually, no, I don't think he does, unfortunately. I don't think he does. Of course, this was Fuland of Water and Light. Okay, yeah, no, this is actually pretty cool. Actually, I'll talk about this first, and I'll see if I can remember the other point. He was incredibly strong thanks to the protection of the Great Spirit. Even without it, Fuland was still so strong that he was in despair. He's definitely included in the top 20 ancient heroes. My guy has a list of top 20 ancient heroes. We need that list, Omori. We need that list. If the Fianna Knights paved the way for Aurario, Fuland was the one who built most of the fortress that was the precursor to the current Labyrinth City. That is pretty cool. In terms of Aurario's contribution since ancient times, it's probably in the top 3. Although he had many conflicts and hardships, he's one of the people who should be included in the heroic tales. If you're curious about the past, be sure to play the game, which will be released next year, and check out that bonus short story. You best believe I will be there. I will be there. But no, it's pretty cool to see, of course, Omori talking about all this stuff in extra detail as well. Obviously, as somebody who's looking, also they adapted the scene extremely well in the anime. Of course, this was in the light novel, by the way. This literally was in the light novel, and they actually did a good job in putting it into the anime as well. I think that was pretty well done. Honestly, again, I still think that entire sequence, I think they did exceptionally well. Very Disney princess-esque. And that was exactly what I was kind of hoping to see in the anime. So, absolutely nailed it on there. So this was actually a good point. Freya Familia was slower than Hestia to catch Belle and his group's footsteps because Hedin had sent out false information and guided them in the opposite direction to Belle and the others, who were heading towards the Great Hall. Having spoken with most of their resources trying to keep Belle and his friends away, Van and his friends finally found Belle and his friends. So yeah, so that's the reason why they took so long. That's the reason why the Freya Familia took so long. Now, a couple of things people have pointed out actually, and I didn't even think about it too much during the anime or the episode airing, is people pointed out like how Belle was losing his breath when he was running with Seer at the very beginning, considering he has Falna and stuff and all that sort of jazz. I genuinely didn't think about it, to be honest, when the episode aired, purely because of just generally what I thought was, okay, he's running away from the Freya Familia. He's also got Seer in his hands. He's been running effectively for the last couple of minutes and stuff for sure, and he's consistently running. It's not easy, it's not an easy thing. So that's the reason what I thought. I mean, Omori hasn't really pointed out anything in that regards, unfortunately, as far as I can tell. I'd have loved to see if Omori actually made a good reasoning for it. Because I don't remember, again, I'm going to be reading through volume 16 later tonight again, or at least continuing with my reread of volume 16, because what I'm doing is I'm letting the anime air and then I'm reading it again so that I can have an idea on exactly how it was. Oh, we've gone down completely to October 11th dates, so this is a lot later, a lot earlier. Let's go up this way, there we go. So I kind of want to have a look and see if he had anything to say, and I don't think he does, unfortunately. I don't think he does. So we're gonna have to just wait and see if he actually makes a good reasoning for it or anything on his Twitter account in more detail in the coming days, maybe, because he consistently updates more stuff regularly. He keeps adding more details. Like, actually, there was this one thing about Aiza's weapon where she had the sword. So I think in the light novel, if I recall correctly, Aiza's sword was under the table. But then in the anime, they made it hidden under the dress instead, which actually fits a lot better. He said, he thinks he looks a lot better. So this is the thing. Again, I think a lot of people are saying Omori's or the animation team and the directors and writers and screenplay writers and whatever, or screenwriters and whatever, are making the wrong decisions when it comes to adapting the episodes. But Omori is there. Omori is literally right there. So for such a minor detail, if they're calling Omori to, or talking to Omori about these details, surely that means regarding the rest of the anime, he's also making the decisions as to what needs to be adapted and stuff. So I think that there's got to be some point where we have to realize that Amori is letting this run basically effectively, and this is something that they can't really do much about, is of course just the episode counts in general, as well as of course just generally the decisions they've been making. It's all approved by Amori, so it's going to be interesting to see how people look forward to the upcoming episodes in terms of the decisions they make and stuff. I'm seriously worried about one decision that's coming up, but not for a while. It's going to be around like episode 10 or 11 basically is when I think that that's going to happen, which by the way, I think for episode 10 and 11 I'll be probably not in the country for during that period. I'm going on vacation, right? So I'm going to have to do my reaction like when I'm out on vacation. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, appreciate all of you for watching this video, of course, right? Again, if you have any other details and stuff that you guys probably want to mention and talk about, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.